Alright guys, so we're going to be taking some quick C notes on a little review for the periodic table after what we discussed today in class and their trends. So I want you to write beryllium, and I want you to tell me how many protons, electrons, and neutrons beryllium has using APEMAN. So pause the video and write it down. It should be easy by now. Well, the answer is 4 protons, 4 electrons, and 9 minus 4 is 5. So what about neon? How many protons, electrons, and neutrons does neon have? Using APEMAN, you should know that it is 10, 10, 10. So let's review with what we went over today. Periods are listed on the left side of a periodic table, and they apply to all elements in that row. So let's circle on the periodic table in your journal. You can either do the one that we glued in yesterday, or you can do the one that we did in the very back of our journal. I do not care, but I will be checking for it. I'd prefer you to do it in the one in the back. I want you to circle period 1 one time, circle period 2 2 times, and circle period 3 3 times. Every time you're circling it, the number of circles are representing the number of energy levels that every atom in each element has in that row. So notice that period 1, each element only has 1 energy level, and we know the first energy level can only hold a maximum of 2 electrons. That is why there's only element 1, hydrogen, and 2, helium. And 3 has to go to the second period because it has 3 electrons, so it needs 2 energy levels. Remember that energy levels are outside the nucleus of the atom, and this is where electrons are found whirling around in the electron cloud. So which period does this atom belong to? Well, because it has 2 energy levels, it should belong to period 2. So how many energy levels does the following atoms have? I want you to write these 3 elements down. You can just use the atomic symbol if you want to. Boron, potassium, and neon. And then I want you to, beside it, write the energy level or what period you think it is in, which is the same thing. So the answer is boron is found in the 2nd, potassium is found in the 4th, and neon is found in the 2nd. So let's go back to reviewing groups. Remember, in 8th grade, we only care about groups 1 and 2 and 13 through 18. Groups 3 through 12, which are called the transition metals, you won't get into until high school chemistry. So groups are numbered at the top of the periodic table, and they apply to all elements that are in the column below it. So every element in this group is going to be group 1, group 2, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18. So I want you to circle the last digit of each number on your periodic table. This number, if you remember, tells you the number of valence electrons that each atom has in that column. So if this is group 1, that means every element in this column has 1 valence electron. And we also learned today that that determines its reactivity. Just like protons identify an atom, valence electrons determine its reactivity. So remember, a valence electron is an electron on the outermost energy level of an atom. So we have a total of 18 electrons. However, there are only a total of 8 valence electrons. So you should be able to figure out what element this is. If it has 3 energy levels, it is in period 3. And if it has 8 valence electrons, it is in group 18. So what element is it? Well, it belongs to group 18, so it should have been argon. How many valence electrons do the following atoms have? So again, boron, and you can just write this next to where you wrote it earlier. You don't have to rewrite it, but add the number. Boron, potassium, and neon. So before where I asked you how many energy levels I have, now I want to know how many valence electrons I have. The answer is 3, 1, and 8, because boron is in the first group, 13th group, potassium is in the first group, and neon is in group 18. So let's review the trends of the periodic table. How many total electrons an atom will have will always be the same as the protons. That's the ape. How many energy levels an atom will have will always be the period number. How many valence electrons an atom will have will be the group number. And so now we're going to go into pretty soon after we get over this, we're going to go into the chemical property of reactivity. And we, again, like we said, know that reactivity is determined by the number of valence electrons. So that's where we're going to stop today, and we'll finish the rest tomorrow. Y'all make sure you need to go back, pause anything, write these 4 steps down in your C notes. In fact, this can count as your summary for your C notes. So copy these 4 steps down in your summary, and I'll see you tomorrow.